So who is the host? I have no idea who. Hello everyone here. I can see Zainab Sardar.
Assalamu alaikum.
Walaikum assalam.
I'm Wasim here. Ms. Zainab, could you please start the session?
Yes, sir.
Okay, thank you.
Okay. So the speaker for today's session is Dr. Aisha Munira Rashid. She's a professor at Aligarh Muslim University. She has played a vital role in framing the Kids and Manners course at Maxwell. And she is also an associated leader for the Maxwell Leadership Council. So she, for her education qualification, she has done a BA, MA, and PhD from Aligarh Muslim University. She has the work experience of more than 17 years in teaching. And awards and merits. So she has been awarded the scholarship by US Department of State for 10 weeks course on assessment, summative, and formative practices in language learning and teaching. She has received the award of Honorary Mayor, President of City of Baton Rouge, US on 17th May 2011. As a student of literature, she has published many journals, papers, research guides, etc. Here are some of them. So in research, she has published Victims of History and Literature, Women in the Novels of Khaled Hosseini and Siba Saqib, Discourse, Analysis of the Language of Advertisement in Print Media and in India,
Hello,
and many more.
is your internet connectivity is
Publications. She has published Palestinian Anti-Colonialism and Literature, the Encyclopedia of Portraits, Post-Colonial Studies, Willie Blackwell 2016. Am I audible? Hello?
Yeah, please go ahead. We can hear you.
Okay.
hello Zainab. Is it me or the internet?
Hello?
Hello Zainab.
Yes, ma'am.
Yeah, I can hear you, but at certain points I couldn't hear you. I guess either mine or yours. I don't know where the problem is, but I guess the connectivity was poor at some point in your introduction.
Ma'am, shall I start again then? If you
No,
don't
it's
mind.
all right. I could hear it. You can ask other participants and you can ask Wasim sir.
Sir, was I like disconnected for a moment? So shall I start again or?
No, you can still continue. There was some issue in between.
Okay, sir.
Now it's better.
Okay. She's also translated works in English. So she's translated Tipu Ki Awaz by L.A. Ahmed Surur and Note on Poetics by Faiz Ahmed Faiz, Pakistaniyat in Department of English, University of Texas, USA. And she has also innovated many teaching methods, teaching material for BA, BSc, BCom, FY, SY compulsory English for Aligarh Muslim University. So yeah, and if I go on elaborating, it might take the whole lecture. She has done a lot of work in literature. Yeah. So thank you for joining us, ma'am. It's an honor to introduce such an eminent personality in literature.
Thank you, Zainab.
Over to you, ma'am.
Very generous. The introduction was quite generous. Thank you very much, Zainab. I can see we have 20 participants. Apart from me, there are 20 people in this meeting. And I've been told that most of you are school children. Are you in school?
No, ma'am. Actually, I'm doing my BA, bachelor's degree in literature.
In literature, English literature, or some other literature?
English literature.
Oh, that's good, because that's the background that I have. But today we have
Yeah.
not gathered here to discuss literature. We're going to discuss something which may be related with literature, but it's not directly a topic based on literature that we are going to discuss today. And
Yes.
how do you go about it? You get time to introduce participants in such sessions? Wasim, sir, are you the one who is organizing this program and anchoring it? Or Zainab, could you inform me about the format of the program? How do you go about it? Do you just start it off directly, or you?
Ma'am, you can start it off directly.
Okay.
And if you want, we'll ask the participants to introduce themselves.
Okay, so I can do one thing. I can just start the program. I mean, I can start talking about the virtues that we are going to discuss today, and
Yes.
I can ask questions while talking about those virtues.
Okay, ma'am. Yeah.
Okay. So what I
Totally.
have done is, I have prepared a PowerPoint presentation, and it's a very simple presentation. There's not much content on it, but I have kept one slide each so that we have some idea of the presentation, and we have some sense of time. I have been told that I've been given only 40 minutes. Is it so? Zainab, how much time do I have?
It is like 45 minutes session with question and answer for 15 minutes.
Okay, 45 minutes include for question and answer session.
No, altogether it is 60 minutes.
Altogether, it is 60 minutes.
Yeah.
Thank you. Thank you. So, I have already been introduced, so I don't think I have to talk about myself. And I've not come here to talk about myself. I've come here to talk about a few very desirable, universally desirable virtues. In every culture, go to any place in the world, to any culture in the world, you'll probably find that these virtues that we are going to discuss today are desirable, and people respect each other's each other by if they find these virtues in them. People respect people better. People respect their friends or family, or even strangers they come across more if they discover that they have these virtues in them. So actually we are talking about an ideal world. In the real world, these virtues may not be admired so much, but I begin my students, or I don't know what to call you, I begin by saying two things. Why these virtues are important, if I say that um, they may not be there in the most important world leaders. Let me tell you why these virtues are important, despite the fact that people who have these virtues may not become the most successful in the world. Number one, I believe, and I think that everyone here should believe, that virtue is its own reward. It does not need any kind of material reward. If you have sincerity, your sincerity gives you a sense of fulfillment and happiness and contentment inside. That is its own reward. You don't need any other reward beyond it. Number two, if you think about how the world is functioning, how it is going on, how it is working, let me tell you, and I'm very sure it is not because, I'm sorry, it is not because of those people who disregard these virtues and just be selfish and try to acquire anything in the world, not considering honesty, punctuality, and responsibility and trustworthiness, these qualities as most important, by not inculcating them, just instead by doing just the opposite, by inculcating just the opposite of these virtues. So let me tell you, such people do not run the world. They may be the leaders, but they are not the ones who are running the world. And because of them, the world is not actually going on. The world goes on because of those people who may be famous or just may not be known by such people, who follow these virtues, who inculcate these virtues, who have these virtues in them, who possess these virtues. They are the ones who are running the world. Believe me, they may be visible, they may be famous, or they may not be famous. Remember that. And for those people who are faithful, who believe in people who believe in afterlife, we know that there has to be an ideal world where reward and punishment will be just according to one's actions, according to one's behavior in the world and one's actions. So if you believe in an afterlife, if you believe in an ideal world where justice will prevail, definitely these virtues need to be inculcated. These virtues have to be kept in mind, and we should try to inculcate these virtues in us. And believe me, when you have these virtues in you, you get a sense of solace. Life may not treat you fairly sometimes, and it happens with everyone. Even the most successful people have bad patches in their lives. And how do they survive? I don't know how they survive, but I know for those people who have these virtues in them, such people survive because they know, even if they don't have a lot of wealth or fame, they have done the right thing. And that feeling that you have done the right thing is the best feeling in the world. Okay, there's nothing that can give you happiness, more happiness. There's nothing else that can make you feel greater about yourself. Okay, except other than the fact that you feel inside your heart that you have done the right thing. Okay, so after saying all these things, these 3 points: number one, virtue is its own reward; number two, the world is being run by virtuous people, people who have these qualities in them. Number three, for those who believe in an afterlife, remember, our reward and punishment will be according to what we have done in the world. So if we have these virtues in us and we practice them in our life, we definitely will be rewarded in the next life. Okay. After that, I'm just going to focus on these virtues one by one. And remember, these virtues are not something that you just feel inside your heart. These virtues um, can be translated into action. They can be demonstrated in behavior. And if you talk about religion, so far as my knowledge of my religion that I follow is concerned, I know that Islam believes in empirical evidences. That is, looking at practical manifestations. So these virtues should definitely be translated into action. So how we are going to talk about these virtues, I have tried to make it interesting for you by including some short movies for you. Can you see what I'm presenting to you right now? Can you see my next slide, participants? Hello?
Sorry to interrupt. Actually, I have disabled the unmute option. They can chat
Okay.
to
So
avoid the disturbance.
can you see the, okay, thank you. So can you see the my presentation? Can you see my screen that I'm sharing right now? I don't know whether you can see the screen.
Dear participants, please communicate through chat box.
Okay, I can see that a lot of people are writing. Yes, we can see. Okay, thank you.
Grammarly can help you write quickly and confidently.
I'm sorry
so you
for
never have to slow down at work. Instant corrections.
And we cannot see your YouTube video.
Is the video muted?
No, ma'am, we can only see a PowerPoint. You
Ma'am.
need to share your desktop.
I have to share my desktop. Okay,
Ma'am, start sharing.
just a moment. Can you see it now?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay.
Ma'am, we cannot hear.
You cannot hear it?
Yes, ma'am. Ma'am, you did not share your computer.
By the way, the movie did not have dialogues, it only has music. So you just focus on the images and what's going on. You'll be able to understand what's going on. Okay. So just carefully look. Actually, the story has not progressed much. Even if you follow the story from here, you saw that the puppy entered a university for puppies training, a university that trains puppies for helping people. So far, this happens. Okay, now you can carry on. did you see the movie? Can I request you to unmute the mics of the participants so that I can hear them, their views on the movie. It was a short movie, and I would like to know what they think about it.
Ma'am, I could not see
Hello?
the movie, ma'am. It was
The dog was helping and dog was honest.
Hello, can you hear me?
yes,
Yes,
ma'am, I can hear you.
Yes, ma'am.
Hello, can you hear me?
yes,
Yes, ma'am.
Yes,
Yes,
ma'am.
ma'am. We can hear you.
Can you hear me? What's
Yeah.
going
Yes,
on?
ma'am.
Yes,
we can.
ma'am.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, can those people who are controlling this meeting unmute participants?
Yes, now all the participants are.
So there's no opportunity for interaction. No, I cannot hear anyone as
Ma'am, I can hear you, ma'am.
Yes, ma'am.
Yes, ma'am.
hello everyone. Can you hear me? Is Zainab
Yes, ma'am.
around?
Yes, ma'am.
Yes, ma'am.
I think these people who are controlling the meeting have left. The admins, what do you call them? Yes,
ma'am.
Zainab. Zainab, I want to interact with the students. Can you allow them to speak now?
Ma'am, we are unmuted.
They are unmuted. Everybody is unmuted, ma'am. So they can answer your question.
Zainab, you need to unmute.
Yes, ma'am.
तुम chat में लिखो ना.
There's a lot of gap that is going on. You need to edit it. Since I could not hear you,
We can
Zainab,
hear you,
you
बोल के
said
लिखो.
that you said something, but I just saw that your mouth. I mean, you were saying something, but you were not audible. I couldn't read your lips. Yes, Zainab.
Ma'am, can you hear me now? Ma'am, I cannot see your screen, ma'am.
Okay, see, in this short video, I had incorporated this video in the presentation so that students have been told who are quite young, the school children, they may take interest in the discussion about the virtues. You saw that in this video, there was a little puppy, and they have used, it's like an animal fable. They have used an animal character, and there are other animal characters also. They're all puppies, and they are being trained to help human beings, and they're being trained to help blind human beings. And he fails in his examination. That little puppy, who's that is the main character in the video, fails in the examination. He tries hard, but at the time of examination, he is nervous and he is not able to guide his human person, that who is blind, to the destination. So the examiner and everyone, um, the examiner fails the puppy, and the puppy is disheartened. The puppy goes out of the university without getting a certificate or a degree of being a human escort. When the puppy goes out, it finds he or it, because it's a character, let me use the word he or she. So the puppy finds a visually challenged woman outside, and there's a bulldozer or some kind of scoop that's coming, and the puppy frames. There's an engineering instrument that is coming, and the puppy discovers that the woman was just going to be hurt. So the puppy picks her up. The puppy starts leading the woman by holding her purse and pulling her away from the sight of danger. So it shows the valor and courage that puppy has, and it shows that we should also be responsible and caring and compassionate towards other fellow human beings. And it also tells us about the feeling and emotion of sincerity, that we should be truthful in our approach towards our actions. We should not just think about examination numbers, the scores that we are going to get. And if people are watching only, then we are going to behave well. And if they're not around, we are not going to behave well. You saw that the puppy, little puppy, knew that there was no one around, and it was outside the university, and the examiner, it did not know that the examiner was around. Still, it tried to help the visually challenged lady. And good for him that all the people from the university had come out, and they were standing near the gate, and he was acknowledged. His act of bravery and compassion was acknowledged. At the same time, remember, even if nobody is watching us, we are being watched by, because we believe that there is an entity, there is a being that's watching us all the time. We should all the time keep our conscience functioning. We should always carry a moral compass with us, and we should have a sense of social responsibility and be sincere about it. Now, I'm going to play another short movie for you. I thought that I would be able to interact with you, but somehow you are not being unmuted. So perhaps that
Ma'am, I
interaction time will
can.
come later, after you've watched these short movies which I have incorporated in the presentation. And I hope all of you are enjoying. Please keep watching, okay? And since you're writing to me through chat, I take it as some kind of feedback. And I feel that I'm really interacting with human persons, and they're not robots, because I can see that you're writing to me. But any robot could also write, you may argue. Okay? I think there is a technical issue from your side. You may not have heard the sound, but the point is that there was no dialogue. There were no dialogues in the previous short movie. So I'm very sure that you understood it. And the second one that I'm going to play, actually, I have borrowed a laptop. I use MacBook, but my MacBook has issues with PPT. It has its own presentation system, you know that. And I've prepared a PowerPoint presentation that is available on Microsoft. So I'm sorry for it. Now my internet connection is unstable. I hope that you're able to watch it. I'm going to play it
Ma'am, can
anyhow.
you send the video's link in the chat, ma'am? I could not see the video.
Austin in collaboration with
Every time I play a video, I have to grant permission. So let me do it. Share sound. Okay, I'm going to share sound. This short movie is beautiful. So now, can you hear me? Participants, can you hear me?
Yes, ma'am.
Yes,
We can
ma'am.
hear you.
Yes, ma'am.
Can
ma'am. We can hear you.
you
Can you send the
hear me?
videos link in the chat, ma'am? I could not see the video.
Can you hear the video?
Ma'am, I can hear, ma'am, but I can't see.
Writing's not that easy. Grammarly can help. This sentence is grammatically correct. It's wordy and hard to read. It undermines the writer's message, and the word choice is bland.
Much better. Are you ready to give it a try? Installation is simple and free. Visit Grammarly.com today.
गेस्ट बढ़ गए हैं। अब कितना बड़ा केक लगेगा? कितना मैदा?
Hello? It doesn't switch. I am trying to switch to my PowerPoint presentation, but it doesn't switch. Again. Yes, it came now. So I tried it twice and the YouTube will not go, it was just there. Now, you saw this movie too, and you saw what happens. It's very moving as you see that there's a shoe shine boy, a child laborer, was sitting on a sidewalk and shining people's shoes. and there's a rich man who comes to him, has his shoes polished, and then he leaves without paying him the right amount. What happens? He leaves behind, he drops, by mistake, he drops his wallet, and the shoe shine boy picks it up and runs after him, runs after the car that the man is driving, and then takes the wallet to him. The man then realizes his mistake and tries to reward him. But as in the beginning, I had told you that virtue is its own reward. It gives you a sense of return. You don't have to need money for it. It's not that you cannot have money for in return for your virtue, but all the time you cannot keep expecting that you're going to gain something out of good virtues that you practice. Instead, you see that this boy returns the money, he's heartbroken. He just wanted the amount that he always earns for polishing shoes, which for his honest work, which was denied to him by the man. So this is something that you all need to remember, that sincerity means, let's talk about what sincerity means. It means something that is about truthfulness. You are honest to your beliefs, you're honest to your feelings, you're honest to your thoughts. That is called sincerity. Sincerity is actually being truthful, not being hypocritical. Hypocrisy means having double standard. You believe something, but you practice something else. You preach other people for to do something, but you practice just the opposite, having a double standard. That is hypocrisy. Lying, that is again sincerity. Sincerity is just opposite of being hypocritical and a liar. I hope you understand this. If you believe that you should be truthful to your parents, you are always truthful and sincere towards your parents. Sincerity gives you many rewards in life. It gets you a lot of gifts also. Suppose if you are sincere towards your studies and you study well, you focus on your studies and you do all your assignments, and then you study all your lessons carefully because you have taken admission in school, and then after school you take admission in some other course. Then you think that since you have taken admission, you need to be sincere towards your course. What you do, you start studying just to be sincere, and by the end of the day you have a result with flying colors, you get a good career. So if you put sincerity in whatever you do, you're giving it 100%, you are dedicated to it, and you are not trying to bluff yourself, you're not trying to deceive yourself and others, you're not lying to yourself and others. You lie to yourself too sometimes. So you are truthful to yourself and others, to your parents, to your friends, and towards your studies, towards your work, towards your career. The end result would be definitely very good. You'll definitely reap the benefit by the end of the day. I mean, your result will be good, your career will be good, you'll have a bright future. So sincerity definitely gives you good results, and you definitely reap a very good harvest if you invest in sincerity. Sincerity is some kind of a some kind of a seed that you sow, and the fruits that you pluck later in life would definitely be sweet after you have practiced sincerity. And the next virtue we are going to talk about, a quality that we are going to talk about, is punctuality. Punctuality is something very important. If you are sincere, all these virtues are interrelated. If you are sincere, you are punctual. Because if you're sincere towards your work, your mind will be alert, telling you to do it on time. You'll never fail to do what you are sincere towards. If you're sincere towards your schooling, you'll never fail to attend classes. For example, right now, perhaps all of you are attending online classes. So what will you do? You'll always be ready in the morning before the time of the class. You'll be fresh, you'll take breakfast, and then you'll log into your computer and then start listening to your teachers, be involved in activities they give you, and also do all the assignments on time. Okay, you'll be all the time thinking about completing your work and submit your work on time, within the deadline. Okay, so this is how you're going to be peaceful, because you'll be finishing your work within time, in time, and you'll not be under stress that your work is still pending. It will give you solace, it will give you contentment, and it will give you definitely peace of mind, which you can derive definitely from these virtues. So again, I have a short movie to show you about punctuality, and I hope you're enjoying these short movies. Okay, I've selected the box. Let me unselect it. Okay.
All your sites from one place. With a free set of
The early bird catches the worm. You will have an advantage and be successful if you start early before anyone else. The early bird catches the worm is a very famous saying which means that people who prepare well and put in effort are successful. It teaches us not to be lazy and do our work with sincerity and hard work. Success will surely come to such people. The early bird catches the worm. It means you will have an advantage and be successful if you start early before anyone else.
I can see there are a lot of questions here in the chat box. We'll deal with these questions later. Okay, I have a little time left. After that, I'm going to start your Q&A session. Okay. Can organizers tell me how much time do I have? Zainab. Okay, I think she's not here. So I'll once again come to my presentation. Now you can see that there's another video here that is also a short video. In this video, you saw that there are two kids, and it was a very simple video for school children, definitely. There was a kid who delays everything. He doesn't go to school.
Ma'am,
Yes.
hello?
Yes, Anna.
Ma'am, you can extend it to more 20 minutes. It's okay.
Thank you, Zainab. So children, you saw that in this video, there were two kinds of people. There were two kinds of children. There's one boy who gets up early in the morning. There's another one who dilly-dallies, and he keeps lying in the bed, and then he gets up and starts watching TV, doesn't take a shower, doesn't take breakfast, doesn't go to school on time. And when he comes back, before that, he runs after chickens. So it's not that you should not be playing. I believe that you should definitely be playing a lot, because games are very important. And these games, such games that this boy was playing, chasing chickens. I believe that such games are really important. Games which are not named and which are not considered to be games or competitions in which you just while away your time. At the same time, you should not forget to do your assignments, like going to school in the morning, taking a shower, having breakfast, going to school, and attending your school at home if you're definitely attending your school online these days. So after that, coming back, again getting fresh and eating and then doing your assignments, etc. And then you have ample time to play after that. Definitely you get a lot of time. If you do your work on time, you have spare time, a lot of extra time for recreation, for sports, for pleasure, like reading storybooks or okay. So all these are going to tell you, going to teach you life skills. It's not that you are all the time going to be lost in books and be away from the and making a sandwich, making lemonade, doing whatever is age appropriate for you, cooking a little, changing, perhaps you can do it, but how to pump air. You cannot hear me?
Yes, ma'am.
Can you hear me or can you not hear
We
me?
can hear you.
Okay. You can hear me. So what I was saying is that punctuality is a trait that will always help you. If you do things late, you are under stress. Because I have a career. I know whenever I delay something, I always feel that I'm just going crazy. And I become nervous. If I have finished my work in time, I always feel more. You have stress. Suppose you have to make a presentation in your class online. You have prepared it on time. Today you get the assignment and start working from today. What happens is by the time you have to present it, you already have gathered a lot of information. You have done research. You have tried to change your PPT according to your, taste, and then you feel satisfied. If you start doing it the last day, just the day before, and then you'll find a lot of material and you won't be able to read it all, and you'll feel, oh my goodness, I should have started early, then I could have read it all and I could have incorporated much more, and you may come up with bright ideas that you would not be able to translate into action because you don't have time. There's another short movie I can see in chat. You still cannot hear me? I'm unmuted. I can see that my microphone is on.
We can hear you.
I read a storybook at night every day. I like it. I like these. You can hear me. Okay, good. Now the next short movie is there.
Ma'am, I sent it before, ma'am, when you had when you were muted, ma'am, then I had sent it, ma'am.
Okay, child. Now I'm going to share this video.
Who's ready to hatch some cool pets? Click here.
Own Monster Unadapted Mind, where monster.
Be punctual. It is late at night. Mary is still at play. Next morning, she wakes up late. She quickly brushes her teeth. She does not take a bath and dresses up. She rushes to school without taking her breakfast. She reaches late to the classroom. Oh my God! What has she done? She has brought her mother's bag to school. All her friends burst into laughter. She feels very ashamed of herself. Now, and does every work at the right time. So children, remember that a second gone is gone forever. Realize the value of time and always be punctual. Ravi gets full marks in mathematics. He becomes proud of himself. When his classmate asks him to solve a question, he does not pay any attention.
So I hope you enjoyed this. And you can see here also it is a very simple video that talks about a girl who is late. She gets up late in the morning, and she's late and she's running against time. Instead of taking her own bag, she takes her mother's bag. So everybody laughs at her. She's not able to complete her work on time, and she fails. So this is also a very simple video and very rudimentary. It tries to create a contrast between one particular student who is sincere towards studies and is punctual, and another student who is all the time being lazy, being tardy, and is not paying attention to her work. So don't be like her, and be like the character who is attentive and who is punctual and who tries to do work on time and doesn't procrastinate, that is, doesn't delay the work. Okay, the next thing, the next virtue that you are going to learn about today is punctuality. I hope you understand is a very important virtue, and it can be defined as why doesn't the slide work? Okay. It can be defined as a virtue of always being on time, completing your task within time, before time, meeting the deadline. Suppose you have a deadline, you have your teacher asks you to complete a task, say till Monday. You are ready, you complete your work today, half of it you do today, and then half of it you do tomorrow on Sunday, and then you finish it, you submit it on time, that is on Monday or even before Monday, because in online teaching you can submit the work before time also. So you don't have to go to school, and from here itself, if your the app or the portal that you're using is open, you can submit your work. So punctuality actually gives you a lot of peace of mind. You are at rest, that you are not under the pressure of completing an assignment. Okay, you can see the definition is here. It is a characteristic of being able to complete a required task or fulfill an obligation. Obligation is some kind of duty. Before your assignments, your homework is your duty, remember. And assisting your parents at home also is your duty. Before or at a previously designated time. Punctual is often used synonymously with on time. It is also acceptable that punctual can, when talking about grammar, mean to be accurate. What is the opposite of punctual? The opposite of punctual is being tardy. The next thing that we have to learn about is responsibility. It is something that we all have to learn as we grow up. It is something we need to learn in the process of growth. Otherwise, we are not growing. And the people who are irresponsible do not succeed, let me tell you, or they either harm themselves or harm others or the environment and the planet. So responsibility is not only something that is going to be beneficial for you, it is going to be beneficial to others that you are related to. For example, your parents, your friends, your environment, your society, everything, all such things. So responsibility are of various kinds. Responsibility towards your own work, to like taking care of yourself, eating good food, eating nutritious food, staying hygienic. I mean, have practicing hygiene, being clean. This is one of the one of those important qualities that you have to inculcate in school. Taking a shower every day, washing your hands at regular intervals whenever you feel that you have touched something that may be carrying viruses, any kind of virus, not only coronavirus, etc. So these things are, these habits are a part of your responsibility towards yourself. Then you have responsibility towards the society also, towards your parents, towards your friends. If you keep the house clean, your own workspace, your table or almirah that you have been given, the cupboard that you have been given to keep your things in, all those things should be neat and clean. That's your responsibility. Your bag is your responsibility. Your assignments are your responsibility. Your house is also your responsibility. You should not be littering around in the house. You cannot throw any wrappers of chocolates and toffees that you eat anywhere in the house or outside your house, on the road. This is being responsible towards your society and the environment that you live in. So a social responsibility is one particular kind of responsibility which involves people who are associated with you and also the society that you are a part of. Okay, so if you're rich, what you do is that you try to give back to the society a part of what you have. If you are educated, you try to teach people free of cost. Not always for money. You need money in order to sustain. Definitely, you need money to carry. I mean, to keep your house in order. You need money to eat. You need money to clothe yourself and have a shelter on your head. But apart from that, if you have extra time, you must devote it to teaching people who are underprivileged. So as children also, you can find people who do not have access to education, and you can teach them like languages and arithmetic, that is literacy, which includes reading, writing, and mathematics, arithmetic, basically. So you can teach them how to read and write and how to do basic calculation so that they can survive in this world in a better way. Now we are going to watch a movie here again.
पापा पापा
यस बेटा।
वो क्या है?
वो डस्टबिन है। डस्टबिन का मतलब ये है कि आप ये जो खा रहे हो ना, खा लेने के बाद इस प्लास्टिक को उस डस्टबिन पे डाला जाता है। ऐसा नहीं है कि यहाँ वहाँ फेंका जाता है, ये अच्छी बात नहीं है, समझे ना। खाओगे, वहाँ जाओगे, उस पर डालोगे, इससे क्या होता है, पोल्यूशन नहीं होता है, समझे ना, समझ गए?
पापा
यस बेटा।
मैं इसको जाकर फेंक दूं?
पहले इसको खा तो लो।
खत्म हो गया।
खत्म हो गया, जाओ। वेरी गुड। कॉल आया। हाँ हेलो, हम लोग पार्क आए हैं घूमने के लिए। हाँ बस अभी आते हैं। हाँ वो भी मेरे साथ ही है। ठीक है, रखता हूँ। पता है ना किसका फोन आया था?
किसका फोन?
मम्मी का। घूमने नहीं जाना है?
जाना है।
तो चलो चलते हैं। आर्यन,
So children, you saw that the father teaches the boy something really important about life. And the father himself perhaps forgets, or on purpose, he does not throw the bottle in the dustbin. I don't know what happens here, because I cannot accept the fact that the father was just teaching the son that he should not litter, he should not throw garbage anywhere. He should just, he should always throw garbage in the dustbin. He himself throws a bottle, just tosses a bottle into the park without thinking. So perhaps he was either testing his son, or he just preaches what he does not practice. So it's about sincerity. If you believe that your environment should be kept clean, you should also practice it. You should also try to keep it clean. You should not only preach people to keep it clean. Okay. Another short video I would like you to watch is this.
वैसे कैसा लड़का चाहिए था आपको रानी जी?
Excuse me, ma'am, you're not.
Are you not able to see what I'm sharing?
Yes.
No, ma'am.
What does it
No,
mean?
ma'am.
Can
Ma'am, I
you?
can't.
What's the problem? I'm sharing it.
I'm unable to watch the video.
Ma'am, I didn't see the video.
Okay, let me start it again. Okay. Children, I'm starting the video again.
Okay, ma'am.
Stop sharing and reshare. Okay.
Okay, ma'am.
Is it visible now?
Yes, ma'am.
Yes, ma'am.
Yes,
Yes,
ma'am.
ma'am.
Okay, so I don't have to go back a lot. I can see that from here also you can follow the story. Okay, now you follow the story carefully. You'll get the meaning, you'll get the message. Okay.
Hello.
Yeah, I can see it's gone. Just a moment. Let me try again. Somehow the entire screen became small. So I'm just going to go back and start again. Full screen. Something's going on. My escape button doesn't work. Why not? What's the problem? Is it visible to you all?
Yeah, yes, ma'am.
Yes,
ma'am.
Yes, ma'am.
Watch it. So this was the short movie. I hope you enjoyed this one too. And you saw that this small child was the only one among all the passers-by. So many people pass, they try to cross the puddle that has that is there the monsoon, maybe, most probably. Everyone just tries to wade through it, and their shoes become dirty. Only this school child, who must be just like you, decides to find a solution to it, and he makes a kind of bridge. What does he do? He picks up some bricks, stones, some concrete, broken pieces of concrete or stones, and he puts them all like small steps, which becomes, which together become a bridge. And that is problem solution finding attitude. So this is a part of our responsibility in life to find a solution when there is a problem. No, we should not always complain. We should be responsible towards our environment. There was no way to go cross the puddle. Everybody crossed it, and everyone made their shoes dirty. You saw that. But that child is the only one who felt the responsibility of creating something, constructing something. And now whoever comes after him will be able to find a kind of bridge, those steps that they can put their feet on and cross the puddle without getting dirty. So he does something for others too. And in Islam, there's this concept of sadaqah. Sadaqah is giving what you have away to the poor. It it is said that it is our belief that if you do an act of sadaqah, you remove evil eyes from you, or you remove misfortune from your life. One of the forms of sadaqah is to remove hurdles from a path, okay, so that people do not trip and fall down and get hurt. Okay, another form of sadaqah is this. I think this is very creative problem solving attitude through which the boy makes a kind of bridge for people who would follow him, and people who come after him may not know who had put those bricks there for them to pass, but they would definitely be benefiting from his effort to build that make what to say build that bridge, and they will all be happy. And somehow that the reward of that happiness that they have, or the reward of that solution that the boy has offered to others, will reach him. This is how we believe that this world is such that whatever goes round comes round. If we do something good, it comes back to us one day, and if we do something bad, somehow it will come back to us. And we also definitely believe in an afterlife where reward and punishment, what we get in return will be according to what we have done in this life. So that's why it's very important to be responsible, not only towards yourself, but also towards other people in your society. And if you find any problem, even a little hurdle on the way going to school, remove it. If you're at home, you find things scattered around on the floor, remove them so that your siblings, your sisters and brothers, and your parents, and whoever lives with you, your grandparents, they do not trip and they do not actually find a hurdle and they do not accidentally fall because of those hurdles lying on the floor at home. This is called responsibility. Collective responsibility is something that everybody has to do, and that we have to do, everyone has to do. And if some people don't do, the society keeps working. But at the same time, if everyone does it, it is better, because our society becomes even a better society if everyone does carries out those responsibilities. Suppose everyone decides not to litter the roads that we walk on. If we have some kind of, a peel of a banana or a poly bag or anything, we need to know where to put what. Poly bags will go into a dustbin where we put non-biodegradable material, and banana peel will go into a dustbin where biodegradable material would be put. Okay. And moral responsibility is something which is related with your moral compass. We all are born with a moral compass that tells us what is right and what is wrong. That is called conscience. Okay. So by this, I think I've come to the end of the talk, and I would like you to tell me what you learned here. The last thing that we have in front of us on screen is trustworthiness. Let me tell you that the virtues we have discussed, that is sincerity, punctuality, and responsibility, these virtues make you reliable and trustworthy. It is not something that you earn just in a day. It is something that you have to keep earning throughout your life. And it is something that you build. People look up to you. Okay, if we give a task to Zainab or Wasim or Sayyida Misbah, they must finish it because they are trustworthy, because you have built that reputation. It is something that you cannot just destroy. You miss once and people start stop trusting you. So it is something that is an asset for you. You should not lose. People should be able to trust you, thinking that if they give you a task, you'll definitely complete it, execute it. This is called trustworthiness, and this is something that will take you to places. It will get you good job. It will brighten your career prospects, and also it will earn love and respect from your colleagues, from your friends and your family members. Also, your parents also will love you more and respect you also as an individual if you're trustworthy and reliable. You complete your task and you keep your word. Now, all of you can ask me questions. I can see a lot of people have written a lot of things to me. Thank you for watching. Thank you for listening to me. And I hope that I also with you, try to inculcate these virtues in our lives. Ma'am, what if someone has the understanding of being sincere but cannot be practical? Although if one has a good heart and has never been harmful to anyone except himself. Okay, it's a very important question. Yes, in this case, let me tell you that finding a good balance between your self-interest and the interest of others is very important. You cannot keep harming yourself all the time in order to help others. Now, what you have to decide basically should be based on how much harm is being done to others if you take care of your self-interest, and how much harm you are doing to others if you, how much harm you are doing to yourself if you are looking after their needs, or how much harm you are doing to them if you are looking after your needs. And which one is less harmful. So it is about deciding what is the lesser evil. Okay, suppose you have just a glass of water and you and your friend both are thirsty. You can find a balance by sharing the glass half and half, right? So I think this is what you have to be somehow, you have to find the answers to such dilemmas, moral dilemmas, you have to find within yourself using your conscience, okay, that we all are born with. It's just that we have to keep our conscience alive, and we have to ask our conscience every time we have a moral dilemma. So suppose both of you and your friend both are hungry and you have just one burger. Not let me not talk about junk food. You only have one roti. So what will you do? You'll just break the roti into two and both will be a little satisfied by eating half the roti that you have. Any other question? So this
Ma'am,
is practical solution. Yes.
ma'am, we talked about punctuality. So punctuality is a discipline, right? But since March 2020, we have been locked down in our homes. Schools and universities are closed. We are having a trouble with our behavior, schedule, studies, and anger. How to deal with it? How to be, consistent? How to manage these things?
So you are having, may I know your name?
And my name is Zahid Mir.
Zahid, let me tell you that these problems that you are facing are natural. And if you are facing anger issues, if you have anger issues, and this must be coming out of your sense of frustration, since you're not getting enough opportunity for being active. Perhaps you need some kind of activity that will keep you engaged and give you happiness.
Yes,
And
ma'am, absolutely.
do you have any kind of sports that you follow?
No,
No, you don't. So you don't play?
not very much.
You don't play. I would recommend that you should play. You should find some kind of physical activity also. You should have some scope of physical activity in your life. For example, badminton or anything that you can play. Any kind of, do some exercise at home. Let me tell you that at home we are using an app that is um, home fitness, health, home fitness, I think. Let me see what I have, and I'm trying to follow it. It is very good. It keeps me healthy and keeps my son healthy, and I force my family to do those exercises which are recommended by the app. Yeah, this is called home workout, I can see. And in
Yes,
home
ma'am.
workout, it gives a sense of achievement because by the end of it, the sound is really robotic. The instructions, the lady who speaks, definitely it's a robot. And I know that it's a robot that is instructing me, but at the same time, I feel happy that the robot gives me some kind of feedback. We are living in future, you know that. So the robot, by the end of the activity, when you finish it and you click done, you get to hear claps. People are giving you some kind of ovation, and that makes you feel good. So I would recommend that do some kind of physical activity, like have some app and do exercises at home. Apart from that, you can play board games and try to find a hobby that will definitely make you feel good. I'm not talking
Thank you,
about,
ma'am.
try to find a hobby, try to see that if you have any talent in you, for example, sketching or writing, blogging, or even making videos or photography or something, whatever you have in your hand, whatever is available to you, or just recording messages or reading out short stories. If you're not able to write, you can read out your favorite story and record it. So, and then you can listen to it and feel happy about it. Okay. So it will keep your anger level and frustration level down. Take a walk in the morning if you're in a habit of getting up in the morning. Just after Salah, you can go out and take a walk if your parents allow you. And you can pester your parents and take them out with you in the morning if you can. And if it's too much, you can find a hobby. All these tips that I'm sharing with you will definitely help you and will make you feel better about yourself. Any other question? Apart from cannot see, I cannot hear you. There's this participant, Mehrus Munt. She or he says that I read a storybook at night every day. It's a very good habit. It gives you a good sleep. And if you're reading something pleasant, may give you good dreams. Cannot be consistent most of the times, but has quite good morals. Ma'am, what if someone, okay. Yeah, we have talked about this moral dilemma. There's an option to whom you can chat with. We can hear you. Okay, is there any other question that I have? I urge all the people, all the participants to chat. Is there anyone else who would like to ask a question? There's a new message.
Ma'am, one more thing.
Yes.
Since we are Muslim, and if someone is practicing, so he doesn't need to either do any exercises because he is mentally stable. But sometimes we cannot be, ma'am, we cannot be, the inconsistency is the fact that happens most of the times. We cannot be consistent most of the times, and that is where the depression or anxiety hits. So please.
Yes, self-motivation is very important for you. And one thing more, you started speaking by saying that we are Muslims, and so we do not need extra activities to keep ourselves fit. I don't think just namaz is going to keep you fit. So we are not all performing Umrah, but imagine that you are not in Mecca, but still you have to perform Umrah. That will keep you fit. Because the rituals that are prescribed in Islam are very, demanding, physically challenging. You have to walk maybe 6 or 7 miles to perform. And for Hajj, even more. So imagine not everyone can perform Umrah because of various reasons, financial or logistical or many other reasons may be there. And nowadays, it's more difficult to get a visa. What I'm trying to say, what I'm trying to tell you is that if such rituals are important for Muslims, we need to understand that we have to pattern our entire life on such rituals which are physically demanding, in which you have to be very active. So you can perform Umrah maybe once or twice or thrice, and Hajj once at most. And some people perform Hajj twice or thrice, but not everyone does it. It doesn't mean that you cannot be active. What God tried to tell us, what Allah, this is how I interpret the rituals that have been prescribed. Allah is trying to tell us that we all have to be active. If you cannot perform Umrah, go to the mosque walking. And perhaps a mile or two, 1 kilometer or 2 kilometers. We nowadays work in terms of kilometers all around the world. So let's not use the word mile. What I'm saying is that if Allah says that the steps you take towards the mosque carry sawab, that is rewards. Okay, each step carries merits. If he says that, we have to understand that he's just trying to tell us that we have to be active. So we cannot just say that after namaz we don't have to be, we just have to be lazy bones, sit in our couches and then munch chips and biryani. No. We have to make our lifestyle active. Okay, I hope you understand.
But the spiritual aspect is the prior thing, you know. If that is going properly, you have a satisfaction in your heart.
Definitely. But spiritual aspect is something that is more difficult to control. And if you relate spiritual aspect with your physical well-being, your physical well-being, your psychological well-being and physical well-being are taken care of together, I think it will be easier for you to manage anger issues, frustration, a lack of sense of fulfillment in your life. So if you take care of both, actually spiritual solace that we derive from performing rituals related with physical exercise that are involved in the rituals. This is how I look at it. So God did not tell us, Allah did not tell us in Islam, we are not asked to just sit and quietly meditate. We are asked to keep moving.
Absolutely.
We are asked to keep moving. So we need to understand that the message is very clear, that our body has to move while we are meditating. Meditation in Islam means that you are looking at God and you just forget the entire world, all your worries, all the people, yourself, and you think that you are in front of God, in front of one God, Allah. Okay. And then you're moving. You're not just quietly sitting. Imagine. So both kinds of, well-beings, that is spiritual well-being, psychological well-being on the one hand, and physical well-being, both have been kept in mind in all the rituals in Islam. And that is a message to all the Muslims that you cannot be inactive ever. Even when you're meditating, keep moving. When you're standing, for some time you stand, maybe for Prophet Muhammad Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam is supposed to have stood for long hours during the nights because of the fact that he was thinking of an entire future for the followers. Okay, so he was all the time worried, but he was not all the time standing. He was also going into sajda. Okay, he was also doing the qada, and then ruku. Ruku has been stressed upon quite a lot in the Quran part. Okay, it shows that we have to perform those, movements in order to get spiritual solace. And when you're doing those activities, your physical movement, that require a lot of flexibility. People who are not flexible cannot perform ruku properly. You know that? If people who have big bellies cannot perform ruku and sajda, they are not able to touch the floor with
so we can say that Islam teaches you to push yourself to be active.
Definitely.
Even in salah, you keep changing your positions. You are not staying at one point. This is a very great thing. I am thankful to you. You have said such a great thing. I come to understand that you need to keep moving. You need to be active.
Very much.
In every aspect. It's a great thing, actually. Thank you, ma'am. Thank you very much. It was nice talking to you.
Yes, you are Zahid, and everyone here, all the kids. Our meditation is not supposed to be just quietly sitting in a particular position.
To be stationed at one point. Yes, exactly. Yes, ma'am. This is such a great thing. Yes.
After you've performed your fard, you can go for sunnah, you can go for nafil if you think that your body did not get enough exercise. And if you're not able to perform those rituals, you have to perhaps do some kind of warm-up. God is sending messages through those obligations that he has made compulsory mandatory for all the Muslims. And he's just telling us that you cannot have a big belly, your joints should be well oiled. He's telling us that a Muslim cannot be lazy at all. Ever.
Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am. Absolutely.
Anyone else? Can I read
Thank you, ma'am.
night as my parents don't allow? Oh God. Maybe you're reading stories too late in the night, kid. Ubeda Mariam.
Excuse me, ma'am.
Yes, Ubeda.
Ma'am, actually, sorry to intervene, but we are running out of time.
I know we have run out of time, actually. And it's too late. And I can see that Ubeda perhaps will not be allowed to read stories even today because it's so late in the night, it's 11 o'clock. So Ubeda, the point is that you should try to find time during the day to read the stories. If they are not in favor of your staying awake late at night. I can see your question, Yasmin. Okay. No, ma'am, they say that my eyes will pain. I don't think your eyes will give you any pain if you're reading stories. Where do you read stories? Kindle, computer, phone, or a printed book? At dark, okay. Oh, that is the problem. A book. Don't you have a lamp beside you? You know, those little lamps that can be just stapled on top of a book also are available in the market. Try to find them. They may be there on Amazon and they're quite cheap. They're not very expensive, let me tell you. So you just can staple them like a paper clip, and they are tiny and they may just stoop on the page that you're reading, throwing light on just the page that you're reading. They are very cute. I had one, but right now I don't have any. I think I have it somewhere at home. I don't compromise on my reading. If you have a habit of reading, it's very good and your parents should be happy about it. Read good books. Read good books in the sense that go for classical literature. There's a lot of literature available for children. They carry some moral stories. Fantasy is also available. It does not mean that you start believing in fantasy being real. Remember that fantasy is just for the sake of entertainment. You can read them all. Oh my goodness, Ubeda Mariam, your parents should be contacted. So I open your window as we have street lights. Ubeda, you have to once again find a balance between your parents' interest and instructions and your interest. Okay, you want to read books, they don't want you to stay awake, and they think that you are going to weaken your eyesight. Do you have headaches? Why are they stopping you from reading so much? Has there been any history of headaches with you? Maybe they are keeping some kind of they keep your health in mind. That's why they're not allowing you to read. I have no idea what's going on. I have to look at the entire situation to tell you what to do. So you are the best judge in your situation. You should. Now, since I've been told by the organizers that the time is over, so kids, it has been really good interacting with you. I really enjoyed it. I would have loved to hear you more, but I could hear only a few people here, just Zahid and Ubeda. Ubeda wrote to me. I wish I could interact with more participants or hear them asking me questions. I had to read out your questions. Hearing you, listening to you would have been a pleasure. Okay, over to you, Zainab.
I hope we would wish to hear from you, ma'am. It was so informative, all the virtues, and hearing from you was really, it was like a music to our ears, and I hope it couldn't stop, but time constraints. So I would like to thank you, ma'am, for sparing such a valuable and precious time with us and preaching us all the virtues. and through audio and visual aids. It was wonderful to hear from you. And thank you for all the participants for maintaining discipline and lending your ears. And finally, thank you to the organizers who organized this session and to run the session smoothly. Thank you so much, ma'am. Thank you.
Zainab. Thank you, Zainab and Wasim Sahab. I don't know how to address him, so I'm just calling him Sahab. And all the kids, you have been great listeners, and I hope that you remember what we have talked about today, and I hope it helps me too. Allah Hafiz, and I wish you all the best for your future. Obeda. Now
Thank you.
Now I will end the session. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.
Wa alaikum assalam.